So let's continue with a B. This is post drops in my eyes. I hardly see anything, but it's very fitting because now objects is being blurred out. The sunshine doesn't make it. It does help to get rid of the objects, and it's more of an open gaze. And I could say in the beginning it feels scary not having the objects around you. So this is something you need to get used to. And as with the goggles that Jan recommends, it takes a long time, many months before your vision sort of calms down and you stop looking hastily, too instinctively for the objects. And this is of course the fight and flight response active in a way. Yes, it is. And you have the N2 neurons leading you to look before you look, so to speak. Your eyes moves before they even see anything, and they do not direct the movement. So experience is not looking around grasping, it comes as a whole. And one could say that experience itself is the action directed. So action is perception, colors are action. All the depth in reality is action as well. Because you are going somewhere, you want to do something, and this is coming into the picture now in modern science of cognition, neurology, and also science of vision, as I said, the directedness. And directedness is not something added. You don't have cognition and directedness. It's the very same thing. So you cannot perceive depending on what level of perception you are in. I think it was Lisa Friedman who said that reality is in itself very unequal. We have different access to it, and this lies at the bottom of our very experience. So anything you add on there will just be add-ons to make things equal, and they don't really reach to the core of experience. And I think that's a indirect deconstruction of the Enlightenment, the idea of equality between people, races, classes. That won't do anything to help the equality, because in our very experience we perceive different levels of quality. That's very interesting actually. One can't leave such a thing as a level of experience out of the picture where you are, and to reduce that to just economic is just plain ridiculous. If you reduce it like Karl Marx, which also was deconstructed by Derrida, to economics, class, working force, and you say you can create equality within those separable terms, or as I would say, non-separable terms, you will not reach equality at all. You cannot reach equality because in our very experience, things are always regulated. You in your experience has a certain position, and the good news is of course it can be changed. It couldn't be changed before, there is a great potentiality to develop without blocking anything out, without saying this is the area where we create something. And of course that is very enlightenment, taking a small part of reality out and say this is the part we're going to fix. And when you do that, the only thing, you are rearranging things, and that ends up in renaming, as we already know, and so forth. The second thing is the subject. In Western tradition, the subject is not even a part of a curriculum, so to speak. It's not part of the discussion. It's not entering into what we think about. It's always out there only. And for some reason we think we can use the things out there, which are already a lesson take on reality. It's a derived take, and it has this, as I mentioned so many times, this randomness. It's happenstance. It's not a base to form an action plan. It's not a base to construct your predictions, to realize what is good for you and how you should sort of command your future. You need to enter yourself to realize reality as a whole. The self cannot be an excluded part. How you feel, your balance, everything comes into the picture. And that is maybe the most important take of the mirror image, that we usually leaves a substantial part out. We think that we can add on that later, the subject, the self, and we have all these personal psychology theories where the persona or the ego is sort of let into the picture after everything is established, when you're already a self walking around in the world, having perceptions of the outside world, digesting those perceptions, making memory of those perceptions, storing them, and then taking them out. It doesn't hold true. The subjects need to come into the picture directly already at the start. It needs to be in on the game. Something proven by quantum mechanics, of course, and something that we later sort of forgot. This forgetfulness is rather reoccurring. This is something that Stephen M. Rosen took up when he showed that by taking everything a step up, Einstein tried to get rid of the subject, although he said, now it's time to have the observer in on the deal. It was actually yet another way of, you could call it renaming, but it was a reconstruction of the equations. And he momentarily solved the problem until the event of the black holes, and then it crashed as well. This is usually the solution in Western thinking tradition, because we haven't been aware of the mirror image, and there have not been any other solutions available. So we do this ad hoc thing that's only momentarily gives us a relief from the struggle of understanding, but it doesn't last for obvious reasons. And you can call this dogmatic gestalt view on the subject, almost like a video camera that walks around and perceives things, or a perceiving machine like a computer with a storage facility, processing facility, intake facility, and so forth, working in a very mechanical order, trying to get things in. And this whole magnificent system of perception and body and direction and balance is something that that has been tried to be kept out of the picture, not even tried. It's something that from the beginning was something that was not did not enter. So it is sort of a revelation, to say something of an understatement. And without the subject entering in once more, being firmly established in reality, we will not gain any knowledge. But we can gain knowledge by letting the subject enter. That will heal both the inner world and the outer world at the very same time. And this is the healing process of deconstruction. A third take on this will be the apeiron, and I think something also called, coming from Stephen M. Rosen, I got much greater understanding of the apeiron after realizing the mirror image better. And the apeiron is what is defined, what is firm, what are the limits. One little example of the apeiron could be the difference between the dorsal and the ventral areas. This is something this ego walking around in linear time doesn't like. It doesn't like that reality sets the rules, so to speak. So the fear of apeiron, or the shutting out of the apeiron, is shutting out of firm established rules coming from reality itself. And the turning away from reality is the original movement from the Greeks. An unspoken idea that I myself somehow defines reality, and then I ignore it's coming from myself. Remember, the debates going on in the Agora were mostly personal. It actually, what it really is, truth for the Greek was something personal. I decided what is truth, and I prove that truthness by entering into battle, combating other people, winning, getting the trophy of having the truth. So it's a subjectization of truth, and that we can set the rules, almost like we set the laws in a society. And listen carefully here. You see clearly, Plato wanted to set the rules for society. He wouldn't like society to set its own rules, to let that be an organic process. This is oddly enough what the apeiron is. Apeiron is reality itself, and we feel somehow, when coming from the area of being in the same region, the same ballpark as Plato and Aristotle, we feel that doesn't give us any freedom, and we naturally directly shy away from it, and thereby constructing an otherworldly, Hugh Everett-like thing, world of the ideas, that where we decide ourselves the roots and the limitations, so forth, and we look away from knowledge just because we want to keep our ego. The limits, the division set by Newton were nothing but Newton's own want for a firmness in reality. But he always knew somehow, somewhere, that he himself constructed these things and therefore they couldn't hold. Were not coming from direct experience of reality. Or here we should use the term of Heidegger, presensing. Something that simply presents itself, subject and object in concord, without taking things out or without trying to bend things to your own will or the will of this ego. And this is of course quite a different take than we are used to. It is not how it sounded before. Usually sound that the Greeks wanted to have a first establishment of a view from nowhere, and it isn't a view from nowhere. It is actually a more subjectified take on reality, where your own perversion of reality takes over as being the map for reality, and it's a map that's not shared by anyone else but yourself. So it's a turning away from reality. And in the dialogues I mention so often, I realize more and more that he is sort of putting blindfolds on his disciples. He's showing them way off. He's not even showing them what he knows, the little he did. He's also putting these pupils into the wrong direction. They were probably already in the cave, but he showed them deeper and deeper into the cave. So one could say there's a personal want that one needs to face for the Gestalt dogma to be true, because deep inside of you, you feel this is going to give me what I really want. This is going to give me the knowledge I seek. This is going to give me the understanding of what's behind the mirror, so I more clearly can define the perfection that lies in there. So it's in a way a very personalized view. It's not your true self, because the true self, that thing that actually perceives everything that's inside of you, that is the truth of it. That together with the outside make up reality. Take away the subject, you actually pervert reality, both inside and outside at the very same time. And you defy knowledge, you defy actuality, what really is there. You're taking away from knowledge, going into almost at the very end, things that makes themselves true automatically. Also the working of the left hemisphere? Denying anything real, a sort of a loop, something that is always true in all worlds. It has identity as well, self-identity, always the same. So on a higher level, if you take in object, your own wishes and wants, which are a natural part of experience, you gain a more valuable knowledge, something that you can actually use in your daily life, whereas the other thing just leads you away from daily life and your philosophical aims and the ability to observe reality and to do the construction of texts. And this was the secret of Derrida. He knew this intuitively, never could or wanted to transfer it. Maybe he wasn't 100% consciously aware of what, but I would also say that was not his mission. That was not what he was after to do. This is something that for me came through Rodolphe Gasset, to actually do the process myself, to do my own deconstruction, and that's quite another different matter. It's a sheer joy to be able to participating in the thing you want to do, and not ultimately always rely on Derrida doing the thing, or Heidegger for that reason as well. I think this is fine for this time, and I wish you a very pleasant afternoon. I hope this blurriness will cede. This is enough training in non-objects for this day. Wish you a very pleasant morning, still morning here, and sunny. Do enjoy yourself. Bye.